Well, hello, party people, and welcome back to Your Take is Excrement, the show where nothing bad happens ever. We never talk about bad things.
No.
We have a great attitude about everything. We live in the mountains, and nothing goes wrong ever.
We never talk about bad movies.
Never.
Never, ever.
Never once.
No.
It's never happened.
Nope.
Today
we're going to be talking about a Serbian film.
Yeah, a wholesome family film. And I am May Leeds.
I'm Neo, and I have one question.
What's that?
Why?
I mean, this is a fabulous question. This is a fabulous question to begin asking now, because by the end of this podcast, you're going to have asked it so many times.
Yes,
and
but
you still won't know.
Why did you try so hard?
Oh, me! Oh, we're mad at me!
Yeah.
Oh, okay, it's my fucking
Why
fault.
did you do this to me?
I see. Okay, all right, gotcha. Yeah, okay, why did I do this to you? Why did we watch a Serbian film on this day, Mayleets? Explain.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so...
But before you explain, we'd like to thank our sponsors, Machine Age Productions and their RPG, #iHunt, and Ambient Dream Studio, the Etsy store. You can also check us out on patreon.com/excrement.
Good Lord.
And why, May?
I first want to admit that this podcast feels a little strange without me smoking a joint the entire time.
Oh.
But I don't actually have any at the moment, so I guess that's just gonna have to be how that's gonna have to be. We're gonna raw dog a Serbian film right now. You're gonna get 100% of May's mind.
Oh, also, hey, Dad Paul Cox, if you're listening to this, just skip this one.
You should not watch this episode.
Yeah,
there are many.
Move on past this one, or anyone who has any problem with just the general concepts
Listen, Mom.
Child rape.
Mom, I know you don't listen to this podcast, which thank God, but also this would be the moment to stop and don't.
Yeah, if you have any sensibility whatsoever, just
stop
leave.
And don't. This one in specific is a big old bummer.
Yeah.
That's all I got. Okay, now back to why.
Why?
So this is the most controversial movie maybe ever made. And I know that sounds a little ass backwards given the fact that we've watched Cannibal Holocaust as our first episode, and we did that on LSD, which is a genius idea that humans do. And listen, we raw dogged the hell out of this. We watched a Serbian film as sober as someone can. And a lot of the reasoning for that is because, in the last few years, Cannibal Holocaust, of course, has gained this reputation mostly because it's on Blu-ray now. People have seen it. It's around. The Holy Mountain, right? It's no longer an obscure, weird thing that people like. It's now fairly popular amongst certain people. A Serbian film was controversial upon release in that no one liked it and everyone fucking thought it sucked a lot and hated it. And then over the course of years, it gained a newfound respect and reputation by people as kind of the movie that took it all the way. And then it once again drifted back into who gives a shit territory, where it genuinely probably belongs. But now it is time once again for people to actually genuinely begin asking themselves what the fuck this was. No one's doing this. People have watched a Serbian film at this point and have basically been like, ew, that was gross to their friends a dozen million fucking times by now, but nobody does the thing where they sit down and actually genuinely ask themselves what the fuck was this? What is it about? Why is this happening? You know what I mean? So we're kind of in that sort of spot.
Well, it's about a dude trying to make the most outrageous movie possible and just trying to coast on that.
Well, I find this to be true, that every film is representative of its production. Like, if you really squint, every movie ever kind of looks a lot like the way that the movie was made.
Uh-huh.
So A Serbian Film like has this moment in it, and it's the moment where the director like shows off his movie to the actor. The actor sees exactly what kind of film he's making, and then he leaves. And while he's leaving, the director stands up, walks to the door, and yells, "I thought you would understand. I thought you would get it. It's newborn porn, man. Newborn porn. Come on. It rhymes. Like, it's hilarious." Sorry, we have the window open. This is a mistake. Anyway, sorry. Yeah, that probably would have been smart to do before yelling newborn porn.
Yeah.
Anyway, so that moment is literally the director of this film. I struggle to pronounce his name and never will get it right. So I feel stupid to try.
I'm gonna make an attempt.
Okay, we're gonna make an attempt.
I have to
I think
find
it's
it
Certain
first.
Spadzvic.
Uh,
Certain Spadzvic. Spadzidovic. Surgeon Spadovic.
Directed by Serdan Spazovic.
Yeah. Okay. I was close. Now I don't know exactly how to pronounce that. Hopefully I'm not fucking that up. But also, homie, let's call him Certain, has gone on the internet and has complained at length about political correctness, people banning and censoring shit, and how that's like bad and bad or whatever. He's very anti-PC.
Well,
Which is weird because the movie is basically about how this guy is trying to make this very anti-PC porn, and that's super bad, and he should be killed for that.
yeah. Well, before we get any further, I'm just gonna describe the movie.
Good fucking luck.
So,
Once again, anyone that is family, just go. You don't need to. I promise.
there's
Anyway.
this bit in South Park in the like the Lord of the Rings episode where they like the parents like mix up like the grossest porn ever made with Lord of the Rings, and so they're like the gross porn in the Lord of the Rings box is like The Ring, and they show it to like Token, and there's a scene where they like we have to go investigate this. Token go watch it, and he's like in his like paladin outfit, and he goes into his house to watch it, and he comes back out in like normal clothes, and he's like, "This isn't funny, guys. I'm not playing anymore. I'm not doing this. I don't know what I saw. I don't want to know what I saw. I'm not playing." And he like closes the door. It's like that. It's like I'm not playing anymore.
That's how you feel
I don't want to play this game
after watching
anymore.
a Serbian film.
Yeah. Okay, so it's about a old porn star who loves his family, but also just leaves his old porn around for whatever reason.
Yeah.
It's just kind of weird.
He's like really into himself.
Yeah,
Like
he
himself
just-
like 20 years ago, not himself now.
Yeah, so he ends up getting sucked into a new porn gig, but no one will tell him what it is. And at first, it's just like violent, like beating women porn,
Yeah.
and then it descends into like
Weird shit with
child
kids.
porn
Yeah.
and like snuff porn, and they keep on like drugging him so he'll like violently rape people.
Yes. So that they
Yeah.
can film him doing that.
Yeah, and
And
anyway,
yes.
the movie ends with the people kidnap his family. He unknowingly rapes his family with his brother, and then he snaps out of it, kills all the porn dudes, and then the family all kills themselves. And then the movie ends with another porn crew like standing over the family's mass suicide corpses, and they're like, "Well, let's get to it." And someone unzips their pants. And that's Serbian film. This movie, like, so it's, you know,
that one's a thinker, huh?
yeah, it's, well, what this movie is is this movie is the person on Twitter who hops on Twitter, has a anime profile pic, probably from Girls Panzer, however that name is pronounced, and just says the N-word a bunch, gets banned, and complains about PC culture. It's like, well, have you tried not doing the most vile shit you can imagine?
Yeah, exactly.
And it's like, it's not art.
Guy
Like,
goes,
it's
can I make the grossest, most fucked up thing imaginable, and also get away with it? Doesn't get away with it, then gets mad that people are upset with him for having done it.
It's not edgy.
Also, he complains, or he says that there are a lot of political motivations, and he believes that political art should be,
right. Well, and I
whatever,
think like
or something.
So,
man.
I don't know enough about the fall of Yugoslavia and the Balkan conflict.
Sure.
To speak to what, like, he's obviously referencing aspects of that, but it never seems very cohesive. But so it seems like he's trying to say violence is bad, but he's glorifying violent rape to women.
I would just want to point out to everyone at home that this man seems to be claiming that the violence that was done to his family or to families is bad. In the same breath, he has a guy pull out his dick and skull fuck a guy to death. And it is so comically over the top that I can't imagine anyone on Earth not standing up and going, wow,
well, and
fuck you, and leaving after seeing that.
See, like, Cannibal Holocaust was a movie, and it was interesting. Like, it was, for everything bad with it, at least it was interesting. Like,
sure.
This movie is either the most boring bullshit you have ever seen, or a baby getting fucked to death. And it's like, the only reason the baby getting fucked to death isn't boring is because it's just unbearably, like, it's just unwatchable. And it's like,
right.
And it's like, the vitriol and disgust is preventing this from being boring. And it's
okay, so you know how when you go to McDonald's and you order like a quarter pounder, you don't exactly know how much bullshit went into you getting that quarter pounder, right?
Yeah.
So A Serbian Film is kind of like that quarter pounder. Like, there's some beef in there that had to happen. There's some cheese that had to be sourced. There's some veggies that had to be sourced. But of course, these were also sourced in really blatantly cheap and shitty ways.
Well,
and then it all comes together because some people like sweat in a dark room to assemble the tasteless nightmare of meat. And then you eventually get it. And if somebody spat in it along the way, you'd never fucking know. Well, that's A Serbian Film.
It's just like, it's a pizza cutter. It's all edge and no point. Like, it's like, if you're it's like, people like edgy, fucked up art. Just in general. It's like, everything, like, just about everything we cover is edgy and fucked up. Like, anything Jodorowsky makes,
but we try to go for point, right?
Is edgy and fucked up.
Yeah.
But it's like, the reason to be edgy and fucked up in a movie is to communicate a point.
Right.
And when your point is when you're trying to communicate violence is bad, but the way you communicate that is like showing on screen a baby getting fucked. It's like you've missed your own point.
Yeah, you've spun right around and have done the thing that you were trying to avoid. Well, you were trying to criticize even.
Right. Well, and it's like, it's just.
Well, and so two things. Number one, to continue my quarter pounder euphemism.
Mm-hmm.
A decade ago, you would not have seen this. Like, you would have seen a version of this where you hear the baby get fucked, but you don't actually see it. When this movie actually fully premiered, I think it had like 10 to 13 minutes removed. It's quite a bit. It's quite a bit.
God, I wish I saw that cut.
God damn. Well, and so, like, this uncut Blu-ray that's out now, it took goddamn decades for that to get through so that somebody could actually release that so that your ass could finally watch it and you could go, wow, this is boring and sucks.
Yeah, well, and it's like people
Just
are
like a quarter pounder.
people are canceling my art. It's like, motherfucker, that's not art. And like,
Yeah, I mean,
you know,
I'll defend anyone's right to say that what they're doing is an art, but I can also objectively criticize the thing as an art in the same breath. I think that, like I will admit that a Serbian film is a piece of art. I will not defend it as a good piece of art in any capacity.
it's I don't know. It's just so fucking immature.
It really fucking is. You're right. Well, and the other thing I noticed is, like, while I was watching it, was that it was extremely studenty.
Yeah.
It was very clearly, like, it feels like it's very clearly his first feature, mostly because guy needs money, loves his family, has to do something bad in order to acquire money, and in the process of doing so hurts his family, and then cut to black gunshot.
Mm-hmm.
It's literally every student feature film I've ever seen.
Well, and he keeps on doing this thing where he tries to do these like masturbatory shots. Like he keeps on. It's like he's obviously trying.
Remember the dick cam?
Yeah. Well, or
Stupidest movie
the
ever.
scene where they're like shooting down the table.
Oh yeah.
And it's obviously trying to be an artsy shot, but they fucked up the lighting, and so it's just stupid. And it's so obvious that like what they're trying to do and where they fucked up. And so it's like it's like, why are you like, I don't know. It's like, if you can't,
Why aren't you taking this seriously?
Well-
That's kind of where I was at with it this time, actually.
yeah, well,
Like the newborn porn scene where he's like standing up and yelling. I mean, because that is ultimately the movie that reveals what the movie is
Mhm.
to everyone watching it. They all go, "Oh, it's some okay, I see." Well, and so like it very literally is a moment where the director stand-in for himself is yelling the point at a different character, and it's like extremely meta in that he's literally yelling the point to the audience, like what he's doing, and he thinks it's a joke.
mm-hmm.
And I get the idea is that like I believe the metaphor very literally goes which is also diegetic because it's in the movie. The metaphor goes, well, Serbians are, raped at birth, and
Yeah.
and then they're just like fucked for life, and even their mother is fine with that. Like that, I think is generally what the point is meant to be for the newborn porn scene, where the director stands up and goes, "No, you don't understand. It's newborn porn. Like it's political. It's like I'm talking about Serbia."
Mm-hmm.
And that is literally director Surgeon telling me
Mm-hmm.
the point of the
Right.
movie. And this brings me to my next question. Is this film a joke? And if it is a joke, who is it funny to?
Right.
for?
Well, and so I think, but in here's what I think about it being a joke. So it either is intended to be a joke, in which case it's not funny at all,
No.
or it's trying to be serious, in which case it's just kind of a bad drama, or it's the director is hiding behind layers of irony to try to deflect from the fact that he made a bad movie. And so this whole like, is it a
Sure.
joke? Is it not a joke? Oh, it's too edgy. But it's like, why don't you just take accountability for the shit you want to do? Why are you trying to hide behind these like layers of irony
Sure.
and like defensiveness, where it's like, if you're gonna
Just
make,
own it.
yeah,
Just
you know?
own what you've done.
But and not in a, I don't know. It just feels like, it's like the skull fuck scene, right? It's
Sure.
it's like I think that the scene is there because they were like, oh, we actually have to, or we should put in something that's kind of funny in here.
Sure.
Yeah,
I mean, like, god damn. Just what? To keep the dour out of it?
I don't know. Yeah,
I don't even know.
It's just like, this is something that if you stole the nihilistic, edgy kid with a trench coat in high school's journal,
It would be this.
it would be this. And it's fucked up and not very interesting.
Well, so when I was in film school, I was a senior in college. I was graduating in like 2-3 months, and we watched the final film sort of festival for my film school. So we watched everybody's shit, and we watched a lot of the first and second year stuff. And so first year stuff usually objectively terrible on every account, like including poorly shot. So generally unpleasant to watch, mostly for laughs.
Mm-hmm.
Sophomore year film students got the look and feel of movies better, but the subject matter was fucking terrible because they had not yet learned to write stories. And that was the sweet spot for me, because that was where it looked like a movie, it sounded like a movie, but it tasted like shit. And that's really funny to me. So when I was in this situation, somebody made a movie that was about a kid who needed money, loved his family, and decided to become a hardened gangster to obtain more money. And then, in trying to obtain the money and being successful, the gang he was working for kidnapped his mother and forced him to rape his own mother. And I was in a room full of 45 to 50 other film students and parents for the sophomore year. Now, I was not invited. I went in secret because I just had to know what the fuck they had made, what had they wrought. And I watched this with an appalled crowd who were all horrified and thought that it was this shittiest thing. And I swear to God, after the movie ended and there were credits, a silence fell over the room like none I've ever seen, because basically a whole room of people had just watched a shittier version of a Serbian film with their mom, and no one could leave because it was a school function. And I thought that was way funnier than the movie itself ever was. But like, I feel like the following question is the thing that ends up being the most important, which is, why the fuck are people even still talking about this movie? Why is it a thing? Why are we talking about it? Why is anyone on earth giving this any attention whatsoever? And the answer is because if you can force like a few people into a situation where they can't leave because it's like a school function or some shit, and then you turn this on and make them like it's just like they go ape shit, but silently. It's like so amazing to watch people like silently lose it to shit like this, because it, as you said, it's a pizza cutter. It's all edge, no point. So they are desperately trying to make the gratuitous, horrible violence on screen not just be gratuitous. They want it to have meaning. And I swear to God, every single time the house lights came up and there was some bullshit like this, everybody just sat silently and had no idea what to say.
Well, isn't that like, I don't know, film school 101 is like, it's like, if you're going to have violence, make it have meaning.
Yeah. Like genuinely, that's in my opinion rule number one.
Where it's just
it's just fucking pointless and shocking. But it was just like amazing at the time because I was just like, there's no way that like hoes really be doing this out here. But it's true, hoes really be doing this out here. And so the precedent set by A Serbian Film is that you can pretty much claim anything has a point if you're shocking and edgy enough about it.
Yeah.
And people will pretty much nod and go, oh, thank God, it had a point. You know what I mean? It's almost like relieving. They're like, oh, okay, it has a political stance. I don't have to feel like weird for having sat through it. And the other thing, I guess, is that when you watch the uncut version of the film, the version of the film that is the most readily available nowadays, you're pretty much watching a version of this movie that is way unnecessarily longer than the prior versions of the film as well. So you have to endure this fucking thing, and it is boring as shit. When you start, like, when you really lay it out there and it's like uncut and it gives you everything, every scene suddenly becomes like 5 shots too long.
Yeah.
You're like, oh my God, get me the fuck out of here. Like every single scene, you're like, geez, they cannot get the pace of this right. And it's like, you know, it's a thriller, but it's not very thrilling. And also there isn't a mystery. And also there isn't any sort of big reveal coming. You can pretty much guess what's going to happen from fucking episode 1. Like literally from the start of the movie, you can pretty much guess what happens. Like the movie opens with his son accidentally stumbling upon his porn, watching it, and like
getting his first erection.
Yeah, getting his first erection and internalizing violence and like objectification of women and shit like that as sex. And so, like, if the movie is about the internalization of poor attitudes against women and children based on the activities made by porn producers, if that's what the movie is saying, then, like, it says that pretty much in its opening moments.
Uh-huh.
Like, it pretty much knocked that one right out. So you can pretty much guess if it goes to extremes where it's going to go. I mean, we got a kid watching porn and he's talking about being horny to his dad, and his dad is like, I'm never going to hurt you. Nothing bad is ever going to happen, even though I am this way and this has been the past in my life. And so it's like shockingly anti-sex worker. It kind of like blames sex workers for like a lot of porn's problems and basically says that it's perpetuating that onto children, which is weird. And then like it also just generally demonizes the porn industry, which is fine, but it feels genuinely like it lacks a lot of the necessary context. Like whenever it shows things that is its depiction of pornography, it's always like weird DVD porn where people are dressed up like cartoon characters and shit, and you're like, what the fuck? Like genuinely, what the fuck? And like everybody's worshiping this guy like he's like some sort of like porn legend, but every time they cut to him, he's like, you know, kind of overweight and he's kind of like, you know, struggling.
He doesn't look good.
And yeah, he does not look super great or healthy. And so you're kind of like, okay,
well,
what the fuck?
Yeah. Never mind. I had another point I was going to get to, but first we're going to have to get to ads.
Oh,
I don't.
Neo.
I'm just. What?
Neo.
What?
Sit down.
I am sitting.
I, as your doctor, I want you to know that I mean this in no personal way. I've completely removed my personhood from this situation because I feel it's so serious that you need to know, but I don't want to invest myself, even though I am your friend and your doctor. But your test results have come back. They have come back, and I have read your chart. I have looked at your chart, and I've studied it with a team of other scientists. We've all looked over the chart, and we've come to one unanimous conclusion. and that is that you have hashtag iHunt.
Is it
Yes, it is.
yes?
I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry, but yes, it is.
What else do I have, Doc?
Well, hold on. I need to tell you more about the first disease. You're going to be hunting monsters.
Oh, okay.
Just pretty much constantly now. You can't stop. And you're going to be doing it like the gig economy, like Uber. So basically, you're going to become a weird compulsive Uber driver for monster hunting, and you can't stop.
I'm sick with an app.
You're sick with an app, yeah, but it's also an RPG. You're sick with an RPG. Do you know what schizophrenia is? I have it. It's kind of this condition where you narrativize like things like really, really wildly all the time. So basically, that's what's going to happen to you. You're going to be narrativizing monster hunting fights just sort of constantly all the time. And hopefully you don't ever think I'm a vampire or something and sort of stab me in my sleep. But maybe you will, and that could be cool. So, anyway, back to your chart here. On your chart, it also shows that you've got a little touch of the Ambient Dream Studios in your colon. I would recommend a colonoscopy, mostly just to take really cool pictures. Like, just to get pictures from the Etsy store, Ambient Dream Studios. Why aren't you saying anything? Look, this one's far more minor. It's not terminal, but it is pretty bad. I would probably get it checked out. Get a second opinion, I don't know. You can do so. If you want to get a second opinion, I'd go to Etsy and check out Ambient Dream Studios over there.
Well, and also there's this rash on my back that says patreon.com/excrement.
Oh my God. That's
maybe
oddly
you
specific.
You should go there.
We need to check out Dr. Pimple Popper and have her look at it. Jeez, Nia, you're just like falling apart over here.
Yeah.
One might say that you're leaking fluids. Hey, that's my book. You can still pre-order for a couple more days. Please pre-order it. There'll probably be a second round of pre-orders where people can get it if they missed in this round. But like at the same time, like I think I'm pushing something like 700 books sold at this point. So I'm a little in over my head over here. Mm-hmm. We're working on it. It's a lot. It's a lot more than I expected. So. But anyway, please consider ordering a book. My book. The one I wrote. Anyway, do you want to move on back to newborn porn?
Yes. Well, okay, also, so I pulled up the Bosnian War on Wikipedia.
Okay.
And so I think you can. So an interpretation of this movie is it's complaining about violence carried out on against Serbs. And how fucked Serbs are from the jump.
Okay.
I just want to read a little thing here from Wikipedia.
Okay.
The Bosnian War was characterized by bitter fighting, indiscriminate shelling of cities and towns, ethnic cleansing, and systematic mass rape, mainly perpetrated by Serb, to a lesser extent, Croat and Bosnian forces. Jumping down a little bit.
Okay.
By early 2008, the International Criminal Tribunal for former Yugoslavia convicted 45 Serbs, 12 Croats, and 4 Bosniaks of war crimes in connection with the War of Bosnia.
Okay.
Estimates suggest that around 100,000 people were killed during the war, over 2.2 million people were displaced, and in addition, an estimated 12 to 50,000 women were raped, mainly carried out by Serb forces.
Oh, okay. So it's
like
this is a call out post. Maybe.
This is a call out. Well, this is a call out post to the Serbs that fought. Well, there's I guess a lot of Serbs still alive that fought in that war.
So I guess
my dorm dad in high school was in there.
Did he do any rape?
No, I think he was he was like an American intelligence officer.
Oh, okay. No, so maybe rape, but probably not.
Yeah, well he would talk about the Middle East. He just wouldn't talk about Bosnia. It was
Yeah.
really bad. But it's like, if you're gonna make a movie, I don't know. It's just like
So what the fuck? Okay, well then let's analyze this with a team of cheerleaders, Neo. How in the fuck is this movie, right? Is this movie trying to say that Serbians have a weird proclivity towards raping people, or is this movie trying to say that, do they believe that Serbia is responsible for bad things, and
No.
this is them criticizing their country? What is this exactly?
Well, I mean, and I am not an expert in the Balkans. It is like, it's like, in terms of
whatever whatever the truth is, we can edit Wikipedia and make sure that that's the truth.
In terms of
at the end of this.
complications per square inch of any territory, it's like the Balkans like the most complicated, so it's hard not to look at it in terms of several overgeneralizations. But as an overgeneralization, it tends to be a pretty nationalistic area, and so I think that if you look at the movie from the lens of us Serbs are violent fucks, I don't think it makes very much sense, because the director, who's the mouthpiece for the director, is like, Serbs are fucked from the jump. We're raped by our fathers. We're raped, and no one cares about the Serbs. The only thing they care about is the violence we export. And it's like, in the narrative of the film they're making in the movie, the whole thing is, it's like, she was like, her husband was fighting in the war and she was out fucking other men. Punish her for not respecting her husband.
Yeah.
So I think the movie as Serbs are, Serbs did a lot of fucked up shit, I think falls through. But I think if you watch the movie from Serb war crime apologetics, as the Serbs were the actual victims, I think that makes more sense and is very unfortunate, because as I just quoted, and I'm not saying that people didn't do things to the Serbs,
sure,
but a lot of that conflict was ethnic cleansing of the Bosniaks who were Muslim.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, so
do you think that this movie is directly about that conflict in specific?
I think that sprinkled in, I think that the movie, if the movie were to have a point, if it were to have a take, it would be the Serbia didn't do anything wrong take. Like, we got fucked up. We got raped.
Well, are they saying that they were getting fucked by their government? Like, their government was making these decisions and they were just kind of along for the ride, and they were just getting fucked by their government? Are they basically saying that the people in power, basically Vukmir, right, the director, he's rich already? Like, at the beginning of the movie, they go to his house. His house is huge, right? And he's got this massive studio. He was rich already, right? So is the point to say that the rich in Serbia are fucking the lower class, and that they're also making the reputation for Serbians really, really bad because they're a bunch of rapists and shit? Is that what it's saying, Neo? I don't know.
He might be trying and failing to say that, but I think that's just the most clear take the movie has to me is, woe is the Serb, which I'm
gonna do a little googly.
A little Google
googly poo. A Serbian Film from 2010, 12 years old now.
Mm-hmm.
Imagine it.
Imagine that.
Yeah, so homie, themes. Okay.
Themes.
After the shooting wrapped, He said that it is a parody of modern Serbian-made politically correct films that are financed by foreign arts council funds. we have become Serbians have become synonymous with chaos and lunacy. So the title is a cynical reference to that image.
Well, but like...
A Serbian film is also a metaphor for our national cinema, boring, predictable, and altogether unintentionally hilarious, which to a certain extent is commented on and subtly parodied throughout our film.
So the whole like, oh, everyone portrays the Serbs as chaotic lunatics. It's like, well, maybe don't do an ethnic cleansing.
Film quality is of no concern to them, only the bureaucratic upholding of the rule book on political correctness.
Right, but
Spajajovic is quoted as saying he denounces the fascism of political correctness. Questioned by the Croatian media on whether the violence depicted deals with crimes committed by Serbian soldiers during the Yugoslav wars, Spajadovic's answer: a Serbian film does not touch upon war themes, but in a metaphorical way deals with the consequences of post-war society and a man that is exploited to the extreme in the name of securing the survival of his family.
Well, but like...
Qu'est-ce que c'est? So, wait, that sucks though, because, wait. What? Okay. Uh-oh. He adds, in Eastern Europe, you cannot get your film financed unless you have a barefoot girl who cries on the streets or some story about war victims in our region. The Western world has lost feelings, so they're searching for false ones. They want to buy feelings.
Well, it's just...
So there we have some director statements there. And now, listen, there's the two schools of thought. We can look at it in the auteur theory thing where we're like, oh, whatever he says goes. Or we can look at it as the death of the author thing, the Umberto Eco thing, where it doesn't fucking matter what he thinks. But I'm going to go with trying to get to the bottom of what the fuck he believes, mostly because I want to know if this movie is fascist.
Well, so it's like when you're talking about, it's like, oh, you can't get unpolitically correct movies made. It's like, are you...
Well, okay, bitch, but you made this.
You made
so
this.
Get fucked in the butt for that one, huh?
Are you talking...
What a liar.
Are you talking about, you can't get fucked up movies made, or you can't get...
You can make anything you want anywhere.
Well, or is it...
He's not getting state funding to make fucked up movies.
But it's like, it's the question. I think what he's trying to say is you can't get state funding to be like, the Serbs, woe is the Serb, we got fucked. I don't know, because it's just...
Yeah, sure.
Like...
So, well, and he's saying that the only way you can make a movie in Serbia with state funding is if you make a movie about victims in the Balkan region. Is that him saying that the state only allows for people to make movies where they are like boo-hooing and liberal tearsing about the like murders and rapes they committed overseas? Or are they more saying,
well, it's not even overseas,
well, not even on their same continent,
like a rock's throw away?
Yeah, but or are they saying that, like, woe is the Serb that has to deal with the reputation of all of these, like, rapists and murderers, even though I just want to protect my family and I never did nothing wrong?
Well,
what the fuck is this?
I think either way, it's not a great...
I've seen this movie many, many times, and I still genuinely don't know if I hate it or not.
You don't know? I
don't like it. There's not a single bit of it that I like, but I want to feel justified in hating it. I want somebody to justify me hating it. Okay, hold on. So there was a massive controversy upon release. I wonder why.
I'm shocked.
And the director said, "This is a diary of our own molestation by the Serbian government. It's about the monolithic power of leaders who hypnotize you to do things you don't want to do. You have to feel the violence to know what it's about." What? While acknowledging some level of conservatism among the public and theater owners, Spajadovic says, that government-enforced censorship in Serbia is non-existent and was not the driving force behind the making of A Serbian Film. In Serbia, we don't have ratings. There's no law forbidding anything from being shown in a film, and there's no law forbidding anyone from buying a ticket. Well, then what the fuck are you talking about? Like, what the fuck? He goes back and forth on this. Like, oh, you can't make movies because they'll get mad at you.
Well, it's because...
Except for when I can make whatever I want and no one can get mad at me.
It's because he doesn't actually have an ideology.
Well, I'm trying to figure it out.
Why are you trying so hard?
Because I want to know. I want to know what the fuck he's talking about. I want to know if he's like, damn, fucking Serbia is great and cool, and I like it, and it's great. Or if he's being like, man, fuck living here, it sucks.
And like, well, it's like, you know, if he's arguing for, you know, the movie, or if he's saying the movie is about the citizens getting fucked by the government, then why is he so fixated?
I've got some details. In an interview, a Serbian actor criticized the film and said, I've got a serious problem with this boy, the director, whose father got wealthy during the 1990s. Nothing against making money, but I know how money was made in Serbia during the 90s, and then pays for his son's education abroad, and eventually the kid comes back to Serbia to film his view of the country using his dad's money, and even calls the whole thing a Serbian film. To me, that's a metaphor for something unacceptable. The second generation comes back to the country and using the money that had been robbed from the people of Serbia smears the very same people by portraying them as the worst scum of the earth. You know, when the first generation of Rockefellers finished robbing America, the second one built museums, galleries, charitable organizations that financed America. But in Serbia, we're seeing every segment of society continually being taken apart. And for me, this movie is a paradigm of that. I've never met this kid, and I really don't want to either, since that meeting would not be pleasant at all. Okay. So that sounds a lot like somebody being like, oh yeah, you got like money in the 90s, and then you came back and you made this leftist movie about how America sucks. You know what I mean? Like that's kind of, it almost sounds like a conservative guy saying, hey, don't criticize my government.
You know how how Serbs made, you know what he's referencing about in the 90s?
What is he referencing? Tell me.
The war was in the like 92 to 95.
Okay, so
he was
saying that they got the money by raping people.
He's saying his dad got rich from war profiteering, and now he's making a movie about how it sucks that Serbians have this
like shit into this bad reputation, and then he doesn't want to admit that the movie has anything to do with war profiteering.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
okay,
he doesn't.
We got it.
He doesn't.
This movie is a piece of fucking
like,
shit.
He doesn't.
Got it.
He doesn't.
Easy.
He doesn't realize that his take is like the Serbs didn't do anything wrong because his dad.
Well, if it isn't the consequences of my actions.
It's because his dad, who sheltered him from what he did in the war, is like, oh. Anyway,
I can now reveal why I made you watch this. I have been toiling over this and trying to figure this one out for a very long time, like a decade. I mean, a lot of people that are listening to this podcast might even remember times when I talked about this in the past, trying to figure it out. And now I was like, I have the opportunity to force this intellectual person, this beautiful pink-haired intellectual person. And no, I'm not talking about me.
Yeah, I have pink hair now.
Yeah, it's true.
Deal with it.
Sunglasses.
Cope, seethe, mauled.
And I was like, I can have this pink-haired person take a look at this for me and go ahead and just give me the answers. So, thank you for helping me discover what the fuck is going on with the Serbian film.
And I don't want to be anti anyone in the Balkans, but when the question is why this thing in the Balkans? If you just throw out nationalism, you tend to get close. Like,
damn.
There was a subreddit called like 2 Balkans for You that got banned, but the whole bit of the subreddit was like everyone being like horrifically nationalistically fucked up to each other in the Balkans.
God damn. Well, hey, I got a fun little piece of good news here.
A fun little piece
to
of good
wrap this
news?
little thing up. Do you know who Harry Knowles from Ain't It Cool News is?
No, but I know that name is just kind of funny.
Well, okay, I think on the Jodorowsky, we were was it?
Did we
were
talk
talking
about him?
Dune.
Yeah.
Remember when we were talking about Dune?
Yeah.
I said that Devin Faraci was like a big old prick, right?
Uh-huh.
Remember?
Yeah.
Well, I followed that up by also saying that Harry Knowles was a prick, and I think I even mentioned the story where Harry Knowles took like a diaper filled with shit and put that under somebody's seat during a movie to fuck with them. And my friend like saw this happen, which is really not. Anyway, my point is Harry Knowles is a fuck and an idiot. And he once said of a Serbian film, "This is a fantastic, brilliant film that, given time, will eventually outgrow these absurd reactions of people that think that it's like a far harder film than it actually is."
I don't know. It's a snuff film. Like,
I mean, it's a.
I mean,
I mean,
it's
not
a movie
really, but I
about
mean,
a
it's
snuff
like a.
film.
It's a. Yeah.
But there's a scene where someone is raping a woman and cuts her head off and keeps fucking her. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know what Mr. Harry Knowles is talking about. I feel like that's a euphemism for like an ass, like a Harry
euphemism?
Knoll.
A Harry Knoll
Yeah, my no, you know.
is like a euphemism for an ass.
Do you not see it?
I guess I see it.
Yeah, it's like, oh well, he was fine, but he had a bit of a Harry Knoll.
Okay. I'm fine with that. Also, I just want to say that like, this film was pretty widely not liked, pretty widely detested. People just generally gave this one pretty bad reviews, just generally.
Is it perhaps because, and hear me out on this, it's a bad fucking movie?
It could be. It could be. I think that the fucked up thing about
And
this movie is that because it goes so very, very, very far, just so far, a lot of people have a tendency to kind of be like, I guess, overly inquisitive about it. They're just like, oh my God, well, if it's fucking like that, then surely this means, something. But also, I've seen the behind the scenes footage of them like getting that baby rigged up for that. And let me tell you what, like you get rid of the score, remove the context and the baby sounds, and you're looking at a plaster animatronic thing that a very large, very muscular, bald man is
Who
thrusting.
looks like a thumb.
Who looks like a thumb is thrusting a fake flaccid cock into, while making like the gamer face. And the director is like right off screen. He goes, "Yes, good job." And I'm just like, like, what a stupid fucking thing that we have all just suddenly been like, what's this? Like, so many people pogging out over this movie, like being like, wait, what happens in it? It does what? It like completely it crosses the lines, but also it doesn't. How? And it's just like, well, look, like, Dick Cheney he wasn't elected into power. He wasn't given a shitload of power. He just happened to get some. And, he didn't have the right to do war crimes. Of course he didn't. But he did, because he was like, well, I wonder if I can. Mm-hmm. And it turns out that when you're Dick Cheney, an unelected rich man who happens to hold a seat of power and is given the opportunity to do war crimes, it turns out, yes, you can. You can just do them, and you can entirely get away with that. So everybody who's surprised that a Serbian film exists and continues to exist,
Just think about Dick.
might I recommend you think about Dick? Because, like, are you really that shocked that some asshole did this? I mean, look what Dick Cheney fucking did. He shot Dan Quayle, like, point blank, and nothing happened. My point is, stranger fucking things have happened. And people have been acting like this is the craziest thing forever. And objectively, shit that goes on in American politics is way, way, way grosser and seedier than this fucking movie.
What's that dickhead's name? He's in a wheelchair.
Greg Abbott?
No, Crawthorne. Right?
Oh.
Have you been following that at all?
No, what the fuck? What happened?
First of all, he like talked about being invited to like wild eyes wide shut Republican orgies. and then like a picture came out of like him like
at one, please.
No, well kind of. Well, he's like in his shorts and there's a dude next to him. Oh, you know, he's like a big like anti-gay.
Sucking his dick.
He's this big anti-gay dude and he like there's this video of like he like grabs the guy's hand and like puts it on his dick. And then and it doesn't stop.
No.
And then that's like another video came out of him and a dude like fucking dry humping.
Oh my god.
And the dude was his cousin.
His cousin?
Yes. And he was like
this one's a little insane.
He was like, it was just some horseplay. Don't blow this out of proportion.
Fuck up, man.
Just boys being boys.
Okay.
No,
Boys being boys
he's
with
funny
their
because
horseplay.
like the Republicans are doing everything they can to get him the fuck out because he's just
I
like
wonder because
he fucking cannon.
He accidentally just sort of ratted on their whole little
on their
operation
whole little
over
cocaine fueled eyes wide shut parties.
And they're like, damn it, I can't fuck boys
I mean,
anymore.
as if Pelosi isn't having her own eyes wide shut cocaine parties.
I mean, listen,
they all are.
The only reason I don't think Nancy Pelosi is having eyes wide shut cocaine parties is because she would never be invited to one. Like,
but that's why she has her own.
Well, yeah, I guess she'd have to host them.
She sends out invitations to everyone and no one shows up.
Oh my god. So, hey, speaking of that, one time I had a friend who was hanging out at Trent Reznor's house in LA. This is not a joke, by the way. I have a friend who was, in fact, hanging out at Trent Reznor's house for some reason. And Corey Feldman showed up to Trent Reznor's house and gave her a business card. And on the back of the business card had his phone number and email address and a date and time. And it said, you will be at my house at this date and time. And then she, after Corey Feldman left, turned to Trent Reznor and showed Trent Reznor the invitation
I've heard
card.
Trent's music. It's Trent.
You wouldn't think he'd be surprised. Oh yeah, you can see the pronouns. You can see the pronouns in it. Sure. But anyway, showed Trent Reznor this card, and Trent apparently broke into laughter and said that Corey Feldman seems to think he can have giant orgies sometimes, but like no one ever goes to them.
No. Well,
I feel like Nancy Pelosi would be like that, right? She'd go to the party. She'd be like, "Hey, Obama, you want to come fuck this? What do you think? Here's a little card. Here's a little date and time. Come get in this pussy." You know what I mean? And then she's at the hotel room. She's wide open. She's got the lube because she stopped producing mucus years ago, and she's laying there, and Obama don't show up. You know what I mean? He doesn't show up. No one shows up.
So, getting back on track from that tangent.
Right.
Gold or shit?
This movie is like Nancy Pelosi's orgy. No one wants to go to it.
Absolute shit.
Absolute shit. Just not. Yeah, I think we need to let this go as a culture. I think we need to like be a little bit more honest about it.
Everyone gathering together after sundown and burning media is bad. 99% of the
Unless
time. The only time it's okay is if you're burning a Serbian film.
okay, I'm going to counter. I believe there is another okay time to do a book burning. Okay, and that
Harry Potter.
Well, okay, there's another time to do a book burning, but no. The best time to do a book burning is when you and all of your friends just finished the Book of Law, and at the end of it, Aleister Crowley says, "Now that you have read the Book of Law, you cannot talk about this information ever to anyone. Never. You can never say it. Never say it, you idiot. Now burn my book." Like, that's literally the last page of it. He's like, "Now burn this fucking book. Get your friends together and burn it, and don't tell them a goddamn thing." So my point is, there is another possible celebratory book burning, and that is everybody getting together and at the same time burning the Book of Law.
Yeah, but only because Aleister Crowley wants you to.
And to protect its secrets that lie within.
So I'm gonna try a bit.
A bit?
I'm gonna end this with a question for the audience.
A question for the audience.
I want you to think about this question.
Okay. Okay.
Who is worse? Robert McNamara, Dick Cheney, and I can't remember Kissinger's first name.
Henry?
Henry. Who's worse between the three of them?
Who's worse?
Who's worse?
Who is worse? So in the Germanic periods of Munster, like being Renaissance. Oh my God, my brain is like fried. Please hear me. In Renaissance Munster, there was like a time where 3 dudes got like killed in this really shocking way. Basically, they tied the 3 religious figures to this big like pillar. They tied them arm to arm and leg to leg around this pillar, and then they would go individually disemboweling and flaying each and every one of them while the other 2 were waiting to be disemboweled and flayed. So obviously everybody was making noises. So my suggestion, just if I could answer this question you've got about Robert McNamara, Henry Kissinger, and who's the third?
Dick Cheney.
Dick Cheney. Perhaps we tie them arm and leg to a pillar and sort of waterboard them or something. I don't know. You know, something funny.
Last thing before we go.
Yes.
McNamara had a documentary that he was a big part of, and they hated him.
Yes.
But he was part of it, and they interviewed him. He just bragged about his fucking war crimes.
Dick Cheney does too.
It's bad. Anyway, it's
kind of like the guy that directed A Serbian Film, just being like, I fucking made the movie with the fucking baby thing in it. And everybody being like, wow, so cool.
Anyway, all right.
Are we done?
We're done.
Fuck. All right. Well, listen. Maybe next time we sort of don't watch a Serbian film.
Yeah.
There's not. Luckily, there is only one.
Are you happy? Is this what you wanted?
This is what I wanted.
Oh, okay.
Thank you.
I'm glad.
Yeah.
I'm glad one of us got what we wanted.
Got what we wanted. It's okay. What? Do you want some? You want some French fries or some shit? You want a Coke? What do you want? How can I make it up to you?
Big ass daiquiri.
A big ass. I'm sorry.
Daiquiri.
What is that?
Daiquiri. That's the word.
Daiquiri.
Anyway,
big ass daiquiri.
Daiquiri. All right. We'll see y'all next week.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Bye now.